All right, so we have an update on the court case that happened this morning down in Miami-Dade County for James O'Keefe and concerning the restraining order that was filed against him and delivered yesterday while he was live. I think it was yesterday, live and broadcasting on the air. And it's some astounding occurrences happening there in the courtroom. And so we're going to take a look at that. But first, I want to thank you all for joining me again at the Right Side View. This will be a shorter video, just an update on a video that I made yesterday on this case, the situation, and the link for that video is down in the description, so go check that out. But in the meantime, let's take a look at what happened earlier today. All right, so here's the tweet from earlier today from James O'Keefe concerning the hearing that was held in Miami. Update, just got out of court in Miami. The judge extended the temporary restraining order until May 11th. There will be a ruling then. I don't know what's going on with this whole situation. Something, maybe there's more that meets the eye or that we know about right now, because this situation is just screwy to me. I don't understand why there's even a temporary restraining order to begin with. But he goes on to say, the court is now asking me to surrender my firearms. So see documents below. So he is being asked to surrender his Second Amendment rights because of this temporary restraining order. And you only do that, I think, when there's fear that there's a danger that firearms might come in to play in a situation. And everything that I've seen on this story would point to the opposite. The plaintiff, this Matthew Tyrmand, I think is how you pronounce. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but that's as close as I could get. So he's the one who filed for the temporary restraining order against James O'Keefe. From what I understand, from the way that this has been explained by James O'Keefe, is that he received death threats from this Matthew guy, and he had threatened to kill James O'Keefe. He had also apparently sent James O'Keefe a photograph of his book, James's book, with his picture on the front and a bullet hole through the heart. So that obviously is not a very difficult thing to interpret. What that's a threat of violence in itself, and yet, so James O'Keefe posted that on X, maybe I think on X, posted the threats that he had been receiving from this guy, and so this Matthew Tyrmand, he started receiving hateful posts directed towards him because of the threats that he had made against James O'Keefe. And apparently that is the basis of this whole temporary restraining order, that this stalking with violence accusation in the temporary restraining order is all of the hate that this Matthew guy has been receiving because of a post that James O'Keefe had made showing that, hey, this guy is threatening my life. And he sent me this picture with my picture on my book with a bullet hole through the heart. And so apparently that's enough to get, so the guy that makes the threat, the guy that threatens to kill James O'Keefe, nobody asks him to surrender his firearms. And they just go ahead and sign it. And not only sign a temporary restraining order, but then extend it today until May 11th, when there's going to be another hearing. So really, really strange. And I'll tell you, in my mind, this is all orchestrated to stop James O'Keefe from the investigating that he's been doing on voter fraud. And he investigates corruption wherever there is corruption, which is everywhere. So he's embarrassed a lot of people, rightfully so, for the things that they're doing. And I think this is targeted. This is coordinated and planned. This is my opinion. But the fact that he was getting ready to release his next set of videos on the voter fraud that's happening in California, and while he's doing that, or in the process of doing that, this deputy sheriff busts into the office and hands him this restraining order and this notice to appear the following day down in Miami. So this is targeted, in my view. There's definitely some free speech, big time free speech issues at play here, and freedom of the press. Because James O'Keefe, he owns a news organization. He's not just some guy like me with a YouTube channel running around. He's a legitimate journalist. He's got a news organization that he owns. He's got people that work for him who are also journalists and reporters. So this is targeted and needs to be dealt with immediately and thrown out because it's wrong. So he goes on to say, we're filing an emergency interlocutory appeal today. Prior restraint against the newsroom is unconstitutional. Near versus Minnesota, New York Times versus United States. This is a violation of our First and Second Amendment rights. So we are filing an anti-SLAPP, SLAAP, seeking attorney's fees, and will appeal all the way if necessary. The TRO, Temporary Restraining Order, is also based upon third parties' comments, not our reporting. That's a heckler's veto, where the government suppresses or restricts news reporting because of the reaction of an audience. That's what I was saying. So his audience reacting to, and I'm saying James O'Keefe's audience, reacting to his posts about this guy, Matthew, wanting to kill him and threatening him. The reaction of his audience towards Matthew is the basis of this whole, this whole restraining order. So he goes on and says, this is regarding our reporting on Matt Tyrmand. We published a tape of him threatening to kill me. He shot up an image of me on the front of my book with a rifle bullet through my heart. He bragged about being an a Southern District of New York informant. Comments were angry at him. He just bought a domestic violence stalking restraining order afterwards in Miami family court against my news organization, and the local judge signed off. This is an extraordinary series of events. This is not an April Fool's joke. And he's right. He's right about that. Unfortunately, it's not an April Fool's joke. So this is far from over. I know that he's filing for some immediate relief here from this restraining order. It's ridiculous at its face. If this is indeed the basis of the judge signing off on this order, then it's mind-blowing. And I'm really concerned and frustrated and angry at the direction of our court systems in this country. And it's just too many instances now of those. This is James O'Keefe, is a guy who's out there trying to find areas of fraud and corruption and crimes being committed. He's uncovering felonies, state and federal felonies. And out of all that, he's the one that winds up in court having to answer for himself and for the words in his posts. And I just it's very, very disconcerting to see, and very, very upsetting. And but we're going to keep our eye on this. We're going to keep following it as it moves along. He's got his next hearing on this on May the 11th, and hopefully it will not get to May 11th. Hopefully, with the emergency filings, this thing will get thrown out because it's ridiculous and baseless. From everything that I've read, it's ridiculous and baseless. So anyway, I want to thank you guys again for joining me on this video. I've got another one coming up on his, he did put out the second set, or maybe it's the third set now, of videos uncovering more voter fraud there in California, and actually how these people are getting a hold of actual voters' names and addresses, and using those with these homeless people that they're paying $2-3 a pop to sign these ballot measures and petitions and register to vote. It's just a crazy situation, and we gotta follow that all the way through. Anyway, thank you for joining me again, guys, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like and put any comments you have down below as well. Let me know if you think this is political targeting of James O'Keefe. So be interested to hear what you guys have to say. I think it is. But anyway, thanks again for joining, and hope to see you in the next video.